Hi everybody, this is Mac here from Sports Fans TV. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a great afternoon. So, Frank Lampard sacked. Can you believe it? Didn't even get to the end of the season, to the summer, and we're in January. So, crazy times in football. A Chelsea legend and a guy who has done everything there. Won the league, won the Champions League, won everything. And yet, mad decisions have been made. What can you do? You know, Lampard did everything to do the right thing. He led them to fourth place and FA Cup final when he had shoestring kind of budget. And then he got the big budget. He got one of those things, really. They didn't perform. And I think everyone is really in unison in the fact that, listen, he should have been given to the summer. If you take on a legend, you need to give them time. Look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United. If it was done in the Chelsea way, he'd have been sacked a long time ago. And look at him now, top of the league. Man United firing on all cylinders. Got this guy, that guy, and they're still doing awesome. You know, Fernandes, Cavani, and all the rest of them who've been there, who've been rubbish, have started to flourish. Look at Fred. Unbelievable. But think about Arteta as well. Arsenal were 15th. Now, I'm an Arsenal supporter, so I don't think in my lifetime I can remember Arsenal being 15th. That's how bad it was. And yet he kept his job. I think he may have been sacked. Now, listen, the Chelsea, unfortunately, management and owner have form in this space. Yeah. I'll always remember Ancelotti. He won the double, that is the League Cup, as in the whole league, and he won the FA Cup. And Ancelotti is back at Everton doing amazing. He was there doing amazing stuff, and yeah, he still got sacked. League, and he won the FA Cup. And Ancelotti is back at Everton doing amazing. He was there doing amazing stuff, and yeah, he still got sacked the season after. And they've done that over and over again. Now, no one can say to Chelsea fans who have with this kind of cut and thrust and madness. But here we are. Lampard sacked. Tuchel in. And look, Tuchel, let's talk about Tuchel. So, as a fan, I'm not a big fan of Thomas Tuchel coming to Chelsea. But I think let's go through a few things with this guy. So, first of all, he's German, in case you didn't know. It's well documented. And he's been at 4 clubs before. So he's been at a small club, all in Germany, obviously. And then he went to Paris. So he went to FC Augsburg second. He was there from the league, but he won the cup there. And then he went to PSG, where he's had his best football, really. And he won the league back-to-back in France. And he won one of the cups there. A couple of cups there, but he's in the Champions League final against Bayern Munich last season. So a guy who's done a lot, but let's talk about this guy's character. Now, this is the important thing. Now, the guy's flying in, by the way, tomorrow. He is like Sir Alex Ferguson. So he's a guy who wants to be in control of everything, and I mean everything. This is how it was at PSG. So he wants to be in charge of the recruitment. He wants to be, and obviously this is a problem because there's usually a director of football. He wants to be in charge of everything from training, the way that the players sleep, the way the nutrition, everything. He wants to be like an old school manager. The only people who have been able to do that in recent times have been Sir Alex Ferguson and Sir Arsene Wenger of Arsenal. They're the last two. And they were a dying breed, unfortunately, because now everyone has a director of football. They're a director of football. So this Thomas Tuchel, if you're a Chelsea fan, I think it's going to be interesting to see how his responses with lots of people. He got sacked from PSG. One of the easiest jobs probably to do in France. You know, they've got so much money, more money than anybody else. Like I said, he won the league back to back. They won everything except the Champions League. Okay, so he got sacked from that job because he's constantly having run-ins. He's a no-filter man, by the way. So it'll be interesting to see what his interviews are going to be like in the Premiership. He's a no-filter man, and he kept on having arguments with the director of football in PSG. And he got sacked. So that's why was a free agent in effect, and he's come in, and let's see what he does. It's going to be interesting. But there's a few things. Well, let's go back to Frank Lampard's situation. So apparently Frank Lampard was being mooted to be sacked 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. How bad is that? So regardless of what he did, he would still have been sacked. So the Luton game did well, 3-1. I mean, they were struggling in that game. Luton were good, and Chelsea were not great. But he won the FA Cup game, and he hasn't done too badly. But let's look at some of the results. So he lost to Leicester 2-0. They beat Fulham just because Fulham had a man sent off. So that was lucky for them. They got but beaten badly by Man City. 3-1. 1-1 against Villa. Arsenal beat them 3-1. And they beat West Ham 3-0. And it all goes all the way back. But overall, the position of the table was bad. For a team who spent over £200 million on some big players, people costing 70 million. 70 million for Kai Havertz. And Timo Werner obviously a lot as well. And they have been so bad. Timo Werner. I love to hear what any Chelsea fan thinks of Timo Werner. I'd love to hear it, because this guy has been painful to watch at best. Painful. He's not provided any kind of enjoyment. And he looks like he's in pain watching the way he's playing football. He doesn't play football like a man who's enjoying himself. Can't even hit a barn door. Fun. Scoring for fun. For fun. And here we are. Listen, it was madness. And for some reason as well, the fans have said, and even we've heard from some of the players behind closed doors, that apparently their taxes are crossed. So I've got a few questions for you as you Chelsea fans. So I'd like to know, first of all, do you think the job was too early? The job was too early for Frank Lampard? Because for me, I think it was too early. I think he should definitely got them to the playoffs, but they didn't get through. Then he's come to you at a time when, I suppose, with no budget, he was a good choice, because young manager, it wasn't going to cost a lot. He loved the club, and he would bring that DNA with him. But was it too early? Would you have liked him to do a kind of Steven Gerrard and go away? Look at Steven Gerrard's situation. Gone to Rangers, few years, about to win the league there. And if he comes back now, he's an experienced manager. He's won something. If he goes to Liverpool, whatever. But he may not even go to Liverpool. He might go somewhere else and then Liverpool eventually. But would you have liked that with Frank Lampard? Because I think that would have been better for Frank Lampard. It's tough to go to West Ham. That's really his club. And be sacked off unceremoniously midway through a season. If you get sacked in the summer, it's not too bad. You can swallow that. But halfway through a season, that means must make you feel really bad. But I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think that Frank Lampard should have been given a chance to stay until the summer? And was he really the man to do it? Because, like I said, the players said his tactics weren't coming across. He wasn't a man who was clinical. And this is experience, right? You got big personalities. And you need to be clear to them about what you want and how you want it when they've got the ball and when they haven't got the ball. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. When I think about someone like your manager that's coming in, Thomas Tuchel, he's going to be pretty meticulous about everything. He's apparently wants to know how people are sleeping. He does a chart of that. He does a chart of nutrition. He does everything's graph, everything's detailed, maybe over detailed. That's what they said about him in PSG and other places been. So even he was hesitant about taking over Chelsea apparently, because it's difficult, right? Middle of the season, your Chelsea's struggling, and here you are in this situation. So I'll be interested to know what your thoughts are about that, about the fact that he's overly meticulous, and but also Leeds manager, Marcelo Bielsa's into all that 100%. He needs to know everything about the player before he lets them onto the pitch, and that control freak. It's a control freak apparently. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are about Tuchel, because look, he's coming to England because he's following his heroes. His heroes is Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp. He's done in some ways Jurgen Klopp's kind of trajectory went to Borussia Dortmund as well, Jurgen, because it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Now, I think Tuchel, as a neutral, Tuchel will be very entertaining because I think interviews are going to be no filter. He's gonna be clashing with players. He's gonna be kicking players. Chelsea have gone completely the different direction to the person that they've had in. Frank Lampard's DNA was a player only recently. He's gonna be much more chummy. But Tuchel is a dictator. He doesn't muck about at all. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about the situation. I think for me personally, like I said, summer should have been Frank Lampard being released if it wasn't going well. He was never going to go down. And the chance of going top four now, I mean, it's possible. Definitely. And that's what the goal is, right? When you spend that kind of money, you need to be in the Champions League to keep that money coming in. But overall, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts about the situation. Do you think Tuchel will get Chelsea into the top four? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to know your thoughts. Is he really a man who's going to do great things? I was speaking yesterday on the Football Fan Show, and we were talking about, is he going to build a legacy? He's been apparently given only an 18-month contract. Now, at the end of the day, get rid of the manager anyway, regardless. I think, like in many ways we talked about yesterday, he's there to start the legacy. I don't think he's there to finish the legacy. I think he's there to start the legacy and just get the players that they're young, quality, amazing, world-class players in shape, and then move off and get someone in who's much more the DNA. So maybe after Tuchel, maybe someone like Drogba or someone like that. And obviously there's Terry around as well, so you might get Terry. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So that's my thoughts about Tuchel. If you didn't know about Tuchel, now you know. He's a dictator, a no-filter man, and he's fiery, and he won't take any nonsense from anybody. He'll do well, but how lot's about the situation, Tuchel. And Frank Lampard, where does he go from here? I personally think he needs to take time out and decide on something which he really wants. The chances of him getting that kind of job are slim because obviously, Chelsea was his team, but all the teams that are around at the top are pretty. Man United, Man City, Pep is going to stay. Obviously, we've got Leicester. I can't see, there be any change there. Obviously, Arsenal, they're not going to change anybody soon. And it goes on, the list goes on. I can't see anybody really changing. He might get a chance at Newcastle. Straight back in at Newcastle. Because we know where Bruce is at and we know where Newcastle are at. Newcastle are definitely going to actually can sell a championship side. The amount of money he's asking for, he needs to extend the Prem. So he might go straight back in, but there may be somebody else. Obviously, there's Benitez probably sniffing around as well. So let me know your thoughts on what the situation is. This is Mac from Sports Fans TV, and also talking about Tuchel and Frank Lampard, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.